Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 5. Well, I feel I got to give a warning in advance. This episode might be a bit sparse in terms of new stuff. We will mostly spend time on building, and doing some slight fine-tuning on the construction yard. I really wanted to get it done, and we will manage to get real close to the finish line today. We will also manage to expand our fleet of vehicles a little bit, mostly on the distribution side of things, but we will also get our hands on a couple construction-based machines. Thankfully, while the main focus will be on the new hub, some work will be done on the town itself in the background. Not all our vehicles will be busy at home, some of them will be able to spare some of their effort on building the future island community. The first goal for us will be the completion of the fire station and the distribution center. The storages are going to be important later. Right now, they would need a lot of money to fill up, which we don't really have. We need a lot of dumpers in these early days. Now that we have proper roads, I think it's time to buy the faster versions. They have half the capacity, but twice the speed of their bigger brothers. Having some extra speed should hurry things along at the borders a little bit. Also, might as well invest in a couple tower cranes. They are less mobile than the ones we've been using until now, but if they can catch a ride to a construction site, they will be a much bigger boost. We will need to use one of the open hull trucks to move them to the office though. Hey, the EDK300 track layer has been released to the market. I'm really glad that the best one becomes available so early. Anyways, we only need to tell the truck to pick other vehicles up at the border, and then drop them off at the office. Yeah, I did just tell it to unload at the border. I'll notice the issue in a second. I did mention in the last episode that I would like to elevate the center of the roundabout, so the centerpiece sticks out a bit more. Once I'm not busy babysitting the tower crane deliveries, I'll get right on it. Well, I wonder why he didn't pick them up. Yeah, he is big enough to load the cranes without issues. Except the default behavior at the border for new stops is unloading. Now that it is set to loading, it should be okay. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Well, first, we need at least one excavator to be available. Yep, looks pretty much what I had in mind. It seems one of the cranes has already been delivered. To make sure we don't waste fuel, let's keep an eye on the second one, so we can tell the truck to stop immediately after it's done. Don't worry. I will manage to thin out that dense forest to the right. I mentioned that I would like to give train drivers and passengers some unobstructed view of the surrounding area. Also, we might as well continue upgrading the main highway. Okay, Both cranes are here, better tell the truck to stand down. There is a small flaw in my current design. The bus stop is too far away from the fire station, even with gravel roads. I don't know about paved ones, but we might have to move it a little, so all 3 workplaces are in walking distance from it in the future. Anyways, we better get the fire station working. The last thing we need right now is a fire destroying our hard work. Alright, that takes care of the workers. Things should be safe at the construction hub for now. I will periodically make sure that progress on the town is still going ahead, even if it's not exactly high priority. Now, here's a thing that I can only hope it will work out. In the last series, I learned a valuable lesson about building our rail construction offices close to towns, so people can walk to it, instead of relying on buses. I decided to try to make this work for this town as well. But since it's an island, we will need to build an over-the-water footbridge. It's a bit of an incline, but not steep enough for me to not go ahead with it. I can only hope that our first apartment building will be close enough. Once the town is more established, we can leave local services to other houses, and make the first one focus on staffing the office. At a quick glance, it looks like it will be okay, but as usual, we need to wait for things to be completed before we can make the final judgment. Well, would you look at that? We have the rail network's main line in the way of our road connection. Guess what that means? As usual, we start by adding a guardrail on each side, so the drastic amount of groundworks don't spill over the permanent tracks themselves. As you can see, there are some pretty ugly clipping happening on the guardrail on the left. Unfortunately, the brick bridge just isn't fitting for this. Now, I am really not happy with how the pillars look on this. I was really trying to go for the version that doesn't have structural support on top of the bridge. But for some reason, no matter what I tried, the only option it gave me had only one pillar, and it was always off-center. I blame the fact that we had a rail switch right in the middle, so there was no real empty space for the pillar to go. Also, all this messing about resulted in some grass sticking through the tracks. Let me clean it up real quick. I'm afraid a regular plain looking overpass will not work for this one. Yeah, I think this one will be fine. Let's make sure the slope is up to our standards before we commit to anything. This was pretty much okay, but it still tried to add a small bump right after the bridge. Yep, this is what I'm talking about. All that's left is to make the slopes of the embankment nicer, and it's done. And the distribution office is finished. Let's move all the vehicles currently working from the original free ones, and let's start setting up the different deliveries. For now, I will still use this as the source of gas, but sooner or later, I will want to build a small fuel outpost. Most likely as an extension of the bitumen drop-off station in the construction hub. Pretty much the same setup we had in the last series. A liquid storage tank full of fuel, and a couple small distribution houses moving it around in the local area. And since we can, we might as well start filling up the bitumen storage. 10% will be plenty enough for now. We can fill it up more once we have it made domestically. We don't really need these roads built just yet. I'll pause them for now. When I do the usual round of mass CO assignment on the town, I will end up unpausing them, but not for long. Since we rely on this DO to deliver the gravel, how about we give it a boost by adding a couple more dumpers to it? Maybe an extra fuel truck won't hurt either. Not much of a change, but I did say that I wasn't happy with this piece of footpath at the cinema. Now it's much better. The bad thing about distribution offices is that they cannot have themselves assigned as a delivery target. We would need a separate office to deliver fuel to it. Thankfully, we have a gas station right next door. Now, this part of the rail network is definitely just a placeholder. I will want to have an overpass going over the road, but I needed to extend the line a bit, so we can connect up to the rail construction office. Wait, did the developers fix the railroad curve trick? That's a bit of a bummer. This also feels like a placeholder. We will need to create a gentle slope going up the eventual overpass, so this is more of a reminder where we want our junction to be. I really didn't want to have it any closer to the gravel station switch. The best thing about these moated construction offices is that they have two entrances. We can upgrade one, while the other allows vehicles to go in and out freely. You know what, let's just release the groundwork machines by themselves. They only need to go for nearby constructions anyway. To make sure fire safety is assured, we better make the driveway itself high priority. And since the commuter line is broken, we need to tell the microbuses to go to the depot, so they don't clog up the customs houses. The open storage is finished. We can set up the space allocations. As usual, it will be 40% steel, and 20% will be given to the bricks, planks, and prefab panels each. To make better use of the space inside the distribution office, we should make some changes. I think we can send a couple of the dumpers to the local COs. We will definitely need some open hull trucks to deliver the construction materials. And with the warehouse finished, we can also tell it to only store the 2 components needed for building stuff. Now that we started importing bitumen, we are pretty low on cash. Thankfully I only filled it up to 10%, any more, and we would be bankrupt right now. I did add the 2 new storages to the distribution office, and we will start importing a little bit of resources, but once I notice the amount of money we have left, I will quickly disable those deliveries. To make more room for the necessary vehicles, I sent some of the old ones to the depot. We still need 1 covered hull for the components, and 1 dry bulk truck for the cement. Also, the 2 COs are so busy, they never got around to building the roundabout centerpiece. Let's assign it manually. Same goes for the different road upgrades. We really need to get these done, so things can run more smoothly around here. The only thing missing now is that dry bulk truck. After that, the distribution office is pretty much complete. Of course, it's just a stopgap measure, the materials will be delivered by train in the future. But they will still be useful, at that point we will have a rail CO to deliver stuff to. Now, I wasn't really happy with the angle of the road here. The vehicles had a very sharp turn to make, but a little bit of finesse will give a much better intersection. Yeah, they are struggling less already, and it's not even upgraded to gravel yet. And the firehouse is accessible again. And as it turns out, it will be just in time. Just to satisfy my OCD, I'll rearrange the vehicle list in the distribution office, so the same trucks are grouped together. And since we have enough gravel in the storage, we might as well get these roads upgraded. This is where I notice that we are getting real low on money. We better stop importing the pricier materials in bulk. The steel alone would force us to take out a loan. And we have a fire. I was real glad we managed to finish that fire station driveway earlier. If we didn't rush it, we would have been in some trouble right now. This one truck is just about managing to fight it. Even when the next batch of workers arrive, the rate of fighting the fire is just barely enough. And now that the cement silo is done, let's just add it to the DO for deliveries. Well, I will, once the driveway is fully upgraded. There we go. I think I will allow the office to start filling up the silo. Cement is relatively cheap. This piece of road has been sitting unfinished for quite a while now. Let me bump it up to high priority, and get it finished already. We can also continue upgrading the roads in the hub. I think we should quickly do the gravel loading docks driveway. We only need to tell the office to use the border for a little bit. Also, the two CO driveways are done, so we can designate the other two. It's a really handy feature of these offices. Now, we had some time to kill, so I decided to move on to some decorating at the end of the episode. Let's start with the beech tree forest near the rail tracks. I did remember that in older versions of the game, whenever we used the tree remove tool, the game needed to be reloaded to allow new trees to be planted in that spot again. Thankfully, it seems that bug has been fixed since then. Instead of going hog wild with the tree brush, I will use smaller groups of acacia trees, so they allow a much better view from atop the embankment, while still looking more or less like a natural foliage. I did end up adding a couple denser groups though, but they are still small. Next up, the roundabout. With the centerpiece finished, we can see what we can do in terms of bushes. But first, let's see what it looks like from ground level. Oh yeah, exactly what I had in mind. My first idea was to make the outer ring of bushes denser. But in the end, I didn't really like how uneven that circle was. Next, I decided to see how it would look if I removed all the grass, and instead used bushes as the only greenery on the hill. All that's left is to remove the bushes sticking through the pavement, and we can let them mature to see how it would look. I did like the end result, but of course I'd love to hear what you think. Just make sure you wait for the bushes to fully grow up. Next, we had a pretty long stretch of highway to decorate. The obvious choice was of course to add poplar trees in the middle. Having the road arrows as a guide was really handy to space them out equally. Thanks to the small space available, it was a bit finicky, but I managed to get it done in the end. Unfortunately, we couldn't plant them directly under the power cables. One more reason to move this particular line underground. Better make a note of it. What I did love is that we managed to squeeze one into that small middle section on the crossroads. Was really happy about it. Now we just let these trees and bushes grow, and wait for the end result. Might as well just go full tilt, and upgrade everything that won't block access to important parts of the construction yard. We are not using these parts in the back, so might as well do all of it at once. I think I've said it before, but I wouldn't mind an option to summon a machine to road segments that are normally too short for them. Sometimes it would be much faster to just let them do it, instead of waiting for the buses to bring workers over. Like now. Alright, the loading station is accessible again. Time to tell the CO to use it instead of the boarder. May not look it, but we did make progress in the town. Some of the foundations are done, and even managed to finish some of the walkways. We have enough gravel in storage, so I think it's safe to upgrade the main driveway for it. Only need to make sure it's high priority. To close things off, it is time to give a permanent name to our future island town. From this day forward, it shall be known as Estergrad. Thank you to Jocker for the suggestion. We have two other names in the queue, both of which will be familiar to old viewers of the previous series. One is Satsumagrad, this time for an industrial area, and the other is Kirkimov. We are still waiting for a suitable area to be built for them. Anyways, we are really close to finishing the construction yard at this point, so once everything is done there, it's full steam ahead on the town. Most of the basic infrastructure is done already, so hopefully it won't take too long to allow people to move in. We still need to sort out the local distribution of goods, like food and clothes, not to mention we are still missing the prison, power, etc. I think the drop-off point for consumer goods will be on the other side of the river, and then trucks can distribute them to the local shops from there. The power will be easy enough, we already have the necessary transformer station built. The interesting part will be the train station. I haven't decided yet if it will be a terminal, or a roll and roll out station. If I can, I would love to make it the latter, but that will require some planning. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, then leaving a like and subscribing to the channel just might motivate me to make more. If you are more in the donating mood, you can find a link to my Ko-fi page in the description, where you can buy me a glass of water. I don't really drink coffee. Thank you for your support, and until next time, I will see you later.